Welcome to another episode of AFL Cairns TV. On this week's episode, we've got junior finals on Sunday, so we're going to catch up with Operations Manager of the Junior League to discuss who's playing, who's favourites and how our teams got there. The first of our competitive games will be at 12:15 between Cairns Saints Black and Central Trinity Beach Blue. This is the Gold Coast Suns division. How did the teams get there and who's looking likely to take home the first premiership of the day?
Yeah, well, I think Cairns Saints Black, they've gone through the season with a really strong year. They advanced straight through to the grand final after beating South Cairns at a Pyramid Power. So with that, they take the favouritism tag into the game. But Central Trinity Beach, they've played the underdog status really well the last 3 weeks. They won their last game in Port Douglas against Port Douglas to obviously make it through the finals, and then defeated Port again a week later before defeating South Cairns last week at Fretwell Park. So they'll carry that momentum forward. It's a really exciting game, and one to look out for will be young Will Darrington, our runner-up best and fairest this year in the competition. He'll run around the midfield and he should get a lot of the footy.
Best of luck to those two sides. The second grand final of the day and the second under-13s grand final will be the Brisbane Lions division. It'll be South Cairns Red taking on Cairns Hawks Gold. Give the viewers an idea of how they got here and who's the player to watch in this second grand final.
Yeah, so South Cairns finished second for the season, but they actually advanced straight through the grand final after defeating Cairns Hawks out at Pyramid Power. Whereas the Hawks obviously had to go through the hard way. They lost their semi-final, but then were a winner last weekend in their preliminary final, so they've advanced through as well. The game really shapes as an interesting one because our league best and fairest McLofty Guiden from South Cairns has actually got a broken arm, so he won't be able to play. So with that, I think it might sway it a little bit towards the Hawks side, and obviously another player to look out for in that game will be our runner-up best and fairest, Lachlan Roberts from the Cairns Hawks.
Fantastic. Those two sides will kick off at 2 p.m. at Kazali Stadium for the Brisbane Lions Division Grand Final. The third grand final of the day and the under-15s grand final, which will be played at 3:45. It's Cairns Saints taking on Cairns Hawks. How does this game feature?
Yeah, this is a really exciting game. We've got the sides being decided by 3 points in their last two encounters. So Saints have got to hold their ledger. They're 2-0 this year against the Hawks side, but Adam Davies has got his team ready to go, and I'm expecting it to be a really, really tight challenge, especially around the midfield. You look to see players like Ezekiel Wilson, Jacob Baldwin from Cairns Saints going at battle. Obviously, and then you've got the likes of Alex Davies as our under-14s captain coming through that division as well.
A lot of plays, both for Cairns Saints and Cairns Hawks, are featured in our under-14 representative program, so there's going to be a lot of talent across both sides, so it'll make a cracking contest.
Yeah, it definitely will. You're expecting it to really go down the wire, so really tune in towards the end of 4 o'clock to see who will be the winner.
Yeah, that game starts at 3:45 at Kazali Stadium. Cairns Saints taking on Cairns Hawks in the under-15 grand final. The second last grand final of the day, the premier competition of the AFL Cairns Juniors ranks. Playing for this flag, this Premiership Cup, it's going to be an absolute ripper, 5:30. It's going to be the Eagles taking on South Cairns. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, so obviously Eagles have gone through the year. They've won their 19 games that they've played. So again, with that, they take the favouritism tag into the game. But South Cairns, very similar to Central Trinity Beach in the under-13s, had to win their last round of the season to get through to the finals.
They've done it the hard way, haven't they?
Yeah, they definitely have. So they've gone through. They've won an elimination final by 2 points in really exciting circumstances against Saints. And then again, backed it up to beat Cairns City Lions, who were favourite in that game, by 10 points last week. So I expect to see a really strong contest there.
We've got polar opposites. We've got the Eagles that have gone straight through. They've had the week off. Fair to say they've had an easy run into finals, 19 straight. They know what they're doing right. They know how to play footy. They're very talented. Rick Allen's come out this week and said it's one of the most talented sides he's ever coached, and Rick's been around football for a long time. So Souths have got the tough ass. They've had to do it week by week throughout August, and they've come up against two close sides in Cairns Saints by 2 points, the Lions by 10 points or thereabouts. Do you reckon that'll have an impact on Sunday?
Look, I think it actually helps South Cairns a lot. They've been in the battle. They've won a couple of games really close. So, and again, with that, Eagles really haven't been challenged all that much this year. And the few times that they have, they obviously have answered that. But I think if South Cairns can stay in the game right till late, they can really push the Eagles.
Obviously, our premier competition, we have a lot of our senior players come from this junior competition. The rising star will come from one of these players or one of these teams. So who are some players to look out for? Obviously, there's a lot of names floating around between both sides. There's been a lot of representative experience amongst South and the Eagles. Who are 2 or 3 players to watch out, and what's their impact going to be?
Yeah, well, I mean, for Eagles, they've got the runner-up best and fairest for the competition in Fitzroy Greenwell, who plays high half forward and then goes through the midfield. And he's an absolute excitement machine and highlight package, so he's one to look out for. And obviously with Eagles as well, they're going to be led really strongly by Joey Kura and Timothy Bowie.
Both senior footballers, so have got that experience on the big stage, and that'll hold them in good stead.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, with that too, South Cairns have got a lot of really good young talent coming through that are playing senior football currently. You've got to look to Jonathan Peters in the battle with Damien Burke. If they can control that contest, South Cairns, and they can probably look to get the premiership at the end of the day. On top of that too, you've got Lachlan Smith in the midfield, who's played really strong senior footy and has been another 17s representative player. So they're probably two to look out for the Cutters.
This is going to be a fantastic contest. It will be a twilight fixture, a 5:30 start between the Eagles and South Cairns. Make sure you do get to Kazali's to watch this. It is our premier competition. Both these sides will be playing for these two illustrious items that they need to hang at their footy club and be absolutely proud of come the end of the season. So 5:30 Kazali Stadium. Make sure you get there. The final grand final of AFL Cairns Juniors Grand Final Day will be the Youth Girls. Now, this has been a premier competition and definitely a stepping stone to the senior ranks of Women's League. So there's going to be a lot of key people involved in this that will obviously play a long-term future with the competition of Women's League. This game will be at 7:15. It'll be Central's Trinity Beach Bulldogs taking on the Cairns City Lions. How do you see this one panning out on the last game of the day?
Yeah, so Central's Trinity Beach are looking to have really the fairy tale season. It's their first year in the competition. They've got the best and fairest winner for this year in Poppy Bolts. So they'll be looking to obviously put the icing on the cake and finish with a strong one in the grand final.
They've also got Coach of the Year, female Coach of the Year as well. So they've had some success early in the week. They're probably going to hope that they can continue that and finish positively on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. Bev's done a really good job out there at Central's. Obviously not just promoting youth girls football, but getting the girls to then obviously play some senior ranks as well. So she's done a really stellar job and she's obviously got her team firing.
Obviously, City Lions are a very good story. Majority of them are boarders from Peace Lutheran. They train together. They obviously live in the boarding facility together. They do have other players that complement and come into that side, but it's a fantastic effort to be so unified and be able to play in a grand final together.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, they've got Selena Manton, their team manager, who's heavily involved with Peace Lutheran, and has been able to get a really strong squad together. Probably led by Macy Ray Ware, our runner-up, best and fairest there, who's very good around the contest and impacts the midfield. So it's exciting times for them, and I think they really will challenge the Central's Bulldogs.
And we talk about the Colts competition being a premier comp for our juniors to go into our reserves and senior ranks. This is exactly the same for the women's competition. We're going to get our brightest young stars in 1 or 2 years coming through, and we'll be able to see them at an open age level with Women's League. So it's going to be a fantastic concept. It's also a great idea to be played all on the one day, featuring the youth girls. It's something that we've been promoting the last 2 years. And last year was a successful first time event at Grand Final Day, but now we can have a fully fledged competition with a Premiership Cup, a flag and a Grand Final Day to wrap up our big day.
Definitely. It's really exciting, to see that we've got 6 sides playing youth girls this year, 18 a side on the field. It's just continuing to grow, and we expect to see that flow through to our Women's League as well.
Perfect. Obviously, City Lions are a very good story. Majority of them are boarders from Peace Lutheran. They train together. They obviously live in the boarding facility together. They do have other players that complement and come into that side, but it's a fantastic effort to be so unified and be able to play in a grand final together.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, they've got Selena Manton, their team manager, who's heavily involved with Peace Lutheran, and has been able to get a really strong squad together. Probably led by Macy Ray Ware, our runner-up, best and fairest there, who's very good around the contest and impacts the midfield. So it's exciting times for them, and I think they really will challenge the Central's Bulldogs.
And we talk about the Colts competition being a premier comp for our juniors to go into our reserves and senior ranks. This is exactly the same for the women's competition. We're going to get our brightest young stars in 1 or 2 years coming through, and we'll be able to see them at an open age level with Women's League. So it's going to be a fantastic concept. It's also a great idea to be played all on the one day, featuring the youth girls. It's something that we've been promoting the last 2 years. And last year was a successful first time event at Grand Final Day, but now we can have a fully fledged competition with a Premiership Cup, a flag and a Grand Final Day to wrap up our big day.
Definitely. It's really exciting, to see that we've got 6 sides playing youth girls this year, 18 a side on the field. It's just continuing to grow, and we expect to see that flow through to our Women's League as well.
Perfect. I'll just do a quick Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of AFL Cairns TV. Appreciate you giving all of our viewers an insight of AFL Cairns Juniors Grand Final Day. It will be Sunday the 28th, this coming Sunday at Kazali Stadium. Our competitive grades kick off at 10:45 with our under-11s, then our under-13s will continue on, finishing with youth girls. Entry into Kazali Stadium is free of charge, so make sure you do come along. Have a look at the rising talent of our junior competition. Come down, support your clubs, and make sure you do get involved. All games will be live streamed. If you go onto AFL Cairns Facebook page or our website, www.aflcairns.com.au, all the live stream links are there, so even if you can't get to the game, there's no excuse for missing any of the action. That wraps up another episode of AFL Cairns TV. Don't forget, AFL Cairns, it's a great game.